and good morning. Welcome back to Food Prep Guide. We are doing another pantry breakfast video today. If you missed yesterday's video, I showed you my pantry breakfast, which is a smoothie. If you missed that, I encourage you to go back and check it out. I wonder if I can link it in the description box. I'm going to look into that. Maybe I can link it in the description box, make it easy to find. Today I'm going to tell you about our pantry breakfast for our children. And just like my smoothie, this is our breakfast almost every day. This isn't just a pantry challenge breakfast. We transitioned into this several years ago when our family decided to make a big change in the way that we ate, away from processed foods and over to whole foods. And this was how I got my children off of breakfast cereal. So I know oatmeal is kind of like a normal thing, you know, everybody knows how to make it, but I wanted to share a few tips for how to create an even healthier meal. You know, oatmeal is healthy, but it is lacking some pretty important nutrition, right? Your fruits, healthy fats, protein, all of that. And it's really important for me to have our first meal of the day to be as healthy as possible. And for my children especially, I really want to do everything I can to give them a healthy, balanced blood sugar, because blood sugar in children is extremely impactful on their behavior and their ability to learn throughout the day. Also, I wanted to share how to make it even healthier without sugar, and also just a little money saving trick that I have recently started doing. And let's just get into it. So for our children, we do 2.5 cups for this oatmeal. We only stock whole rolled oats. Let me turn my eye on to about medium. And so we just do equal parts oats to liquid. So for my children, I do 2.5 cups of oats. And this was the money saving thing I started, was we like to make ours with milk. It just gives it a much creamier, better flavor. But just with the prices of everything, I have started substituting one of those cups with water, and it hasn't affected the taste at all. So 2.5 cups of water, or excuse me, 2.5 cups of liquid, and I'm going to do one of those cups as water. That's just to save some money. So 1.5 cups of milk and 1 cup of water. Let me get a whisk real quick. Mix that around good. Now the next tip is to add some protein. So oatmeal is, here's a bay leaf. Let me fish that out real quick. Here's a little tip for if you store oats in bulk, or maybe you want to start storing oats in bulk. We have a 5-gallon bucket rotation system that we use with 5-gallon buckets, and then this container right here. We stock 100 pounds, and that gets us almost a year's worth, about 9 to 10 months worth of this breakfast. But anyway, if you're storing in bulk, you can use whole bay leaves to deter pests. I usually sprinkle, I had one pour out into the oatmeal, but I usually sprinkle some bay leaves on top of the oats itself in the 5-gallon bucket, but then I also put some whole bay leaves on top of the lid of the bucket. We've been doing that for about 2 years now. We've never had a pest issue with our food storage. Praise the Lord for that. Okay, so we're going to add protein, and this is just adding an egg. It doesn't really change the taste at all. You're not like biting into an eggy, mush, but it does make it a little bit creamier, and it certainly adds nutrition. We consider eggs shelf stable around here because we raise chickens, so we always usually have them on hand, and if we don't have them on hand fresh, then we have water glassed eggs. You can use that. So I'm going to whisk that around. Now we're just going to let this come up to a boil. So while that's coming up to a boil, let's talk about a few things. So when I switched our children over to this oatmeal for breakfast almost every day, on the weekends we do something a little different, but Monday through Friday this is pretty much what they'll be eating. I knew that fighting food fatigue was going to be a big deal. I also, since we were eating this Monday through Friday, I wanted it to be as nutritious as possible. So we take care of both of those things, adding nutrition and fighting food fatigue with our homemade oatmeal toppings. We have number one is, we call it a pumpkin pie blend, and it is, let me give you that recipe real quick. It is 2.5 cups pumpkin powder, 4 teaspoons pumpkin pie spice, and 4 tablespoons of coconut sugar. Now I'll show you in a minute how we sweeten the oats in a minute without sugar, but because the pumpkin is such a strong flavor in this, I did go ahead and add a little bit of coconut sugar. So that's one option. We call it pumpkin pie. The next option is maple cinnamon, and this is just equal parts cinnamon and maple syrup powder. Now that's not the same as maple sugar, but maple syrup powder, which is just maple syrup that's been dehydrated and powdered. And so it's equal parts cinnamon and maple syrup powder in this one. My third bottle is empty because I'm out and I need to restock, but it is a berry punch blend. If you saw the smoothie video yesterday, you know that I purchased fruit powders from znaturalfoods.com. They are, I think, available on Amazon. If they are, I'm going to link the powder that I talk about in the description box. But they have a berry punch protein powder, and it is basically all of your red and blue berries mixed with a little bit of banana and collagen. And I will take that bag, I'll buy a 1 pound bag for about, I think it's $19.99-ish. I'll buy a 1 pound bag of that, and I will put an equal amount, so another pound of banana powder with it, and it creates almost like this berry banana taste. And all it is just freeze-dried powdered fruits and collagen, nothing added, no added sugar. And so in this bottle would be equal parts berry powder blend and banana powder blend. You can easily dehydrate bananas yourself at home. So if you're doing it specifically for powder, all you have to do is put your onions, don't do that, put your bananas in a blender, blend them up until it's just a puree basically, and then spread that out onto your lined trays and dehydrate. You don't have to slice it up and then dehydrate and then powder, because if you know you're creating powder to begin with, you can just puree it right up, and it's really simple, really fast. So we have pumpkin pie blend, a cinnamon maple blend, and a berry banana blend. And that's how we fight food fatigue and how we add lots of nutrition, because all of these are fruits and vegetables. And then we always top our oatmeal. When I scoop the oatmeal out into the bowls, I always top it with chia seeds. That's going to give them healthy fats, and it's going to help them stay fuller a lot longer. Also, when this is done boiling, I will place about 10 drops of stevia, and that's how we sweeten it. So I'll sweeten the base blend, and then we'll move on to the powder. I'm going to let this come up to a boil, and then I'm going to put a lid on it, lower it to a simmer I'm going to take it off the heat, leaving that lid on it for 5 minutes. So I'll show you what it looks like when we plate it up in just a minute. Still waiting on that to boil. I forgot something. So when you are transitioning your children, if your children are used to eating a sugary breakfast, maybe like cereal or Pop-Tarts or toaster strudels, or just something like that, anything that you would normally get from the store that's like a processed type breakfast. That's how we used to eat years ago, and it was a big change, and we learned a lot. But one way that I got my children, tried to make that transition a little less painful, was I got these sugar-free Lily's chocolate chips. Now, considering the fact that they're chocolate chips, they're kind of pricey, but it served a very specific purpose, so it was an investment to me, and that was to help my children get away from a sugary breakfast and into this very nutrient-dense, shelf-stable, long-term storage type breakfast. And that was to, after I did everything that I just showed you, I would sprinkle some of these sugar-free, and these are stevia sweetened, so they're not artificial sweetener sweetened, it's just stevia. I would sprinkle about 10 little chips on top, and it would just, the presentation is really important for children. I'm sure you already know that, especially if you're a parent to young children. But seeing those chocolate chips on top of the oatmeal just made them think, I'm getting chocolate for breakfast, or I'm eating chocolate chips for breakfast. And it just made that transition a lot more joyful and a lot less like pulling teeth. So there's a tip for you. Okay, this is going to be cooking up. I'll be back in a minute. We just have about 3 more minutes left on our cooking, and I forgot some more things that I wanted to discuss with you. So this pumpkin pie blend is made from our pumpkin powder. We have a whole video that we did on how to make pumpkin puree and dehydrate it for use throughout the year. I realized that I mentioned the berry punch blend is $19.99 for a pound, but I forgot to mention, and I mentioned that we cut that with another pound of banana powder that we make at home, and of course bananas are very cheap. But I wanted to mention that that $19.99 purchase, when paired with banana powder, is enough to make this breakfast for 6 months. So $20 is a lot to think about spending on an oatmeal topping, but when you realize that it lasts for 6 months, it is very cheap and very affordable, considering it is just raw, or it's not raw, but powdered, freeze-dried and powdered fruits. So it's just raw nutrition that you're putting on your oatmeal. But this pumpkin blend, I would encourage you to, in November, a lot of your family and friends are going to be getting rid of their pumpkins from decorations throughout the fall season, and my husband just goes around and gathers pumpkins from friends and family, and we puree it and dehydrate it. So this is essentially a free topping. I dehydrate a year's worth at a time, and all we're having to buy is a little bottle of the pumpkin pie spice from Walmart. So I just wanted to mention that about affordability. That's a big thing when we're in the economy that we're in right now, but we also don't want to sacrifice nutrition. And there's a really fine line between investing in good quality nutrition and investing beyond your budget. So this is just one way that we have been able to really help with nutrition and still stick to a budget. So I hope you give it a try. I've only got 15 seconds left on this, so let's go ahead and take it off. So remember, this came to a boil, and then I put the lid on, took it off the heat and set a timer for 5 minutes, and now it's done. This morning, my children all were unanimous in wanting pumpkin pie flavoring today. So to sweeten the base mixture, I'm just going to add about 10 drops of stevia. Stevia is very, very concentrated sweetness, so you don't need a whole lot. 10 drops is going to be enough to sweeten this whole pot. Give that a good stir, and then I don't really measure out the toppings. I just kind of sprinkle. Oops. Until it's just a decent coating over the top, and then mix it in. Okay, let's plate up a bowl. We always sprinkle it with chia seed. It doesn't change the flavor at all. Chia seeds are pretty much tasteless, but it does add a lot of healthy fats. And I just wanted to show y'all, I don't have to put chocolate chips, these sugar-free chocolate chips, on my children's oatmeal anymore. Like I said, I just used it as a tool to help transition them away from sugary breakfast to this healthy pantry style breakfast. This is only about maybe 10 to 12 chocolate chips. I just wanted to show you how it presents to the child, and just seeing those chocolate chips just really helps get them excited about eating something that maybe they wouldn't be excited about eating otherwise. But anyway, I hope that this pantry breakfast was a help to you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.